wondering what your stance kind of was on whether or not they should be paid.
It's kind of a two-way deal for me because I've been in situations where, like being at the University of Illinois, where there's a lot of revenue off the sport, in different sports. Then I've been in situations like when I was assistant coach at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, which is a Division One program, but they have very little revenue, um, very little income in terms of money making abilities for a basketball program or any program. So the deal would be like how much and who should get paid, and you know, but like life things aren't fair. So do like the higher programs, kids get more money, and the lower programs get what they can get or what they can make. But my second part of it is that there's a lot of people making a lot of money off college athletes, and it's just kind of a bad deal.
Okay. So if they were to be paid eventually, what do you think the best way to go about it would be? Do you think it would be paying every collegiate athlete equally, men's and women's sports, or do you think that it should be kind of based on the revenue that that specific team brings in to their university?
Well, you would have to do it like sport specific to make it work, because like for you say like how are you going to pay a basketball athlete who you know we're having to sell out every game the same amount that you might pay a field hockey
Right.
athlete, who's not going to get a lot of attention out there and a lot of fan support, and so it's really hard. And that's I think one of the biggest issues is like who like how do you differentiate like who gets pays what and when, and the way they pay them for stipend checks and scholarship checks is already like will be a good method, but you just don't know like it'd be hard to break it up, and then
Right.
if you do try to break it up, who's in control of it,
Right.
or it doesn't get out of hand.
Okay. Okay. I like that. So the last one, actually, there's two more. What do you think of the NCAA stance of covering short-term injuries, but not like long-term, since players are only eligible to receive the one-year scholarship?
Well, I've never been in a situation where I've seen someone being hurt longer than their stay at a university. I think the NCAA does a great job, and most programs have the integrity that if a kid gets hurt and they can't play anymore in that specific sport, that they'll still honor the scholarship and still cover the medical bills, until that player's time period is up. So I haven't seen any situations where there's been like a kid hurt, oh, you can't play,
Right.
it's time for you to go, and we're not going to handle your medical bills. But if that is out there, that's a bad deal. So for the most part, I think the NCAA does a good job. Although it is a 1 year deal, but no one's going to be in the business of like kicking kids out, because now if that happens, if we're in Illinois and we get rid of a kid, well then the guys we're recruiting against are going to go like, well, listen, if you get hurt over there, they don't want you anymore. They just throw you to the curb.
Hmm.
So I don't see that too often. So I think overall the NCAA does a good job with that.
Okay. Last one here. Do you think, or could you see the NCAA changing their rules anytime soon about this issue?
Which one? The pay for play, or
Yep. Just getting paid to go to school and play.
you know what? They could, but like I said again, it's going to be hard. Like look at the kids from Northwestern. They tried to get into the union, like the players union, because they do have a job. Their job is
Right.
to perform for the university, and they getting paid as their scholarship dollars and their room and board and their book fees being taken care of. So, I think you're gonna have more kids and more teams and more universities starting to look into that unionized stuff, because
Hmm.
it's something that you're gonna have to deal with because of the things of injuries and kids out here making the universities millions of dollars, and if they do get hurt and that's over with, and you hurt yourself performing a task for the school, so I just think it's going to be really hard, and
Hmm.
then it becomes of like the haves and the have-nots,
Right.
like the rich and the poor kind of deal,
Hmm.
and you don't want to get into that, because the purest thing about college athletics, I think, is that there is no real money to say that you're playing for. You're playing for the spirit and the heart of your school and those colors that you wear. So to start putting money on it, and it just kind of takes it to a whole nother level.
Right. I agree 100%. That, I believe, is it. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to share your information on the issue. So we wish you best of luck for the rest of the year, and take it easy.
We need it. You guys obviously don't cheer for the Illini because if you have a Rams, who's got a Rams poster back there, they're used to cheering for bad teams. So.
Hey, that's all right though. That's why I stick next to you guys. Hey, I appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
Take it easy, Coach P.